Okay.
Okay, this is a live stream of the Amity Board of Education Communications Committee. My bad, I forgot to hit record. So as a recap, we called the meeting to order at 5:40 p.m. Present are members Carol Oladele, Dana Lombardi, and Donna Schuster. We had a unanimous approval of the last meeting minutes from August 15th, and there was no request for public comment. We have moved on to item agenda number 4, Fall Community Forum Planning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So forum planning, and maybe this is a good time to sort of pause and sort of see how effective our are. So Jen mentioned that you know, staff about sort of the bang for our buck in with the forum, right? Planning time, everyone's time collectively that goes into it, and the turnout. And so, you know, I always ask myself or remind myself, like, what problem were we solving, right? And I think the problem was frustration or not being able to sort of have dialogue during our board meetings. And so we wanted to create a space for people to be able to have that dialogue, bi-directional dialogue. Do we think that that is still, things change, right? Do we think that that is still a sort of need or desire, and people are still sort of clamoring and frustrated not getting a response in meetings? And I'll just say also that in response to that, I think this is when we started doing the board chair's corner, or the newsletter. So this was also an effort to respond to something, to questions that came up during meetings in a timely fashion, and so people would have it. So I'll pause. I don't know, Dana or Donna, your thoughts on where we are with the forum, and continuing and or entertaining other ways, or even saying maybe it's not needed anymore. I don't know.
It was sort of sprung on me to think about that. I think it may be topic oriented. And so, Jen, what topics were presented to you? You said by administration, even though they said,
So, in a weird twist of irony, the one topic they said that they would love to do a forum on is parent engagement and involvement, because it's so low at the middle and high school level. But that's like, then of course we chat GPT'd it. So we got a lot of, different suggestions on like volunteer opportunities, booster opportunities. Their thought was to bring some of the parents who do volunteer and to sort of talk about the time commitment and what it involves and what they look for. We talked of, there was some discussion on kind of the benefits behind that. So that was sort of their idea. But we all sort of acknowledged it's kind of this weird catch-22, because it would require people who we're either going to get the parents who are already volunteering coming out and they're already doing a lot for us, the handful that are, or we're going to get nobody, because that continues to be a challenge for districts across the country. But anyway, that was sort of their original idea, was kind of, and sort of approaching it from, it does look a little different from the middle school to the high school, as kids gain more independence. But that was the one idea that they kind of sort of launched with, and had some tangible concepts of how we might be able to run that.
So, around engagement, Jen, do you see like before COVID and after COVID? Like what was it like prior?
I have to think it was probably about the same. I didn't know. I was here for such a short time pre-COVID. I don't remember there being a higher level per se, but we did a few more kind of in-person community things that I have seen, like sort of run by PTOs and stuff that have fallen off, but they've also been replaced by other stuff that's brand new. So I don't know if, we just sort of like kind of like kids, you trade off like this activity kind of falls out of favor and this one picks up speed. And so you trade things off. I don't know that we see that much different post COVID per se. I mean, I used to, and again, I haven't been to a high school PTSO meeting in a while. 20 would have been kind of an average number of parents to see when you think of a high school of 1,360. That's not a ton, but there's also a lot of parents who are volunteering through athletic teams and individual sort of sports that, we don't necessarily capture. I think people sort of forget about that. They forget about all the times and the amount of work that parents put into ACT. But again, there's a lot we can share with families about how they can be involved. And sort of the benefits for them, the benefits for the kids, so, but I think we're probably about the same as we were pre-COVID. I don't see that we had a huge change.
So I guess the next question is, what type of engagement would you like to see at the middle school and high school?
Hang on, let me pull up the notes that we took. I just gotta find them. All right, just give me one quick second, or not, because now I've lost it again. Okay. So like some of the ideas that they had, so family engagement and learning, so practical strategies to support learning at home, which that one is a helpful one because we have sort of these different expectations from middle to high school as we get sort of more independence for the kids. And where do you, as a parent, intervene? Where do you sort of say to your kids, go to your counselors, try these resources? Then they talked about community connections, and then that was highlighting partnerships with local organizations and businesses, and then sort of using that as an opportunity to open up those discussions about how we partner with those communities. Volunteer and mentorship opportunities, so how parents and community members can get involved in that. And then sort of transitions was one of them. And so how parents can kind of be engaged in a student's transition, middle to high, and then high to college. And then kind of our methods for parent-school communications and how we try to keep families informed around, or how families can be informed around what we're doing. So those were sort of the ideas the buckets we were starting to generate sort of ideas from as to how we could run the forum and kind of who might sit on the panels if those were our topics.
So a couple of things. One, based on what you said, I think the most interesting to me is like supporting learning at home. Like how can you sort of partner with, your kids' teachers or the school, right, to support learning at home, and sort of what are the best practices at different ages. And then on the other side, I think parent engagement in this district and many other districts may look different, right? So there are a lot of parents.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, traditional things that we would see, attendance at a PTSO meeting, like they're not doing that anymore. They're certainly doing things like, hiring, like enrichment activities and, connecting kids with opportunities. So I think that's happening and it's a bit different. I also think that because there's no I mean, we have a farming district overall, and I think the community that we have, I think they don't feel like there's anything urgent for them to like step in, and when they feel it's urgent, they show up, right? A lot of community members show up at public comment. So I think that, and I may be wrong, but I think that parents, families are busy. They think that things are going overall well. I mean, is everything, nothing's perfect, right? And I think that, I think engagement just looks a bit different. So I think, we'd have to think in thinking about ways to engage them, like what does that look like and what would make people step away from busy schedules? And is what we currently have enough, and do we need to add to it?
Well, I was gonna just say a few things. Number one, I think it seems now that I'm on the board, I got a year or 2 years under my belt. I feel like the public comment has decreased tremendously. And I feel like when there is a hot topic, that is what will make someone stop their schedule and come. And I think that the communication over the last 2 years has improved significantly from Jen's perspective, as well as even the budget link that we now have being communicated, which Jen, I was going to ask too, where can we communicate that so that the general public knows about it more than just watching the meeting last night? So I think two things. I think we should go down to one forum, and I think we should do it in the spring. I think two is too many. I've seen a decent amount of them now. I attended one before I was on the board just as a parent, and then we've had a few in between. I just don't think people are stopping to come out to these. They don't have the time and they're too busy. I think parents get involved with whatever their kids are doing. If it's theater, they're involved in that. If it's sports, they're involved with that. And they're involved. They're doing fundraisers for these things. They're doing breakfasts for these things. They're doing
Pasta dinners, like
right,
all
right.
kinds.
So I
Yeah.
feel, and I now 4 years out, 4 years of high school, not only with my son seeing it, with all the other parents seeing how involved they are, how many things go on. So I just think that it's got to be something major for people to stop now and say, hey, I got to go to this meeting at high school. So I think we should do one forum. I think it should be in the spring. I don't know, maybe it should be in the fall, but I think we should try the spring. And I think that we're doing a really good job of communicating things now, maybe better than ever. So I feel like it's hard to put together a forum that's going to take up enough time to make these people come out and be on a panel and really accomplish the goal. And also, where can we communicate that link for the budget? Because people
So
are asking already, like, well, where can we, can they tell us like about it and where to find it? Because I didn't watch the meeting and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so that'll go into Paul's newsletter that
Okay.
we'll publish. That'll be sort of where at the end of the month after we've had the second meeting, and we'll put out the newsletter. That'll be one of the newsletter topics at that point.
Because I was actually thinking about, and this is crazy, but I don't even know if I can do it, doing a letter to the editor in our town paper saying, hey, guess what? All you people that are complaining about the budget, you can look at everything right here. You can just click, 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 and you can find it all out. That's what I was thinking about doing, just because my argument is you hired me to be on the Board of Ed. You voted for me to be on the Board of Ed. You complain about the budget all the time. You want all these answers. I've seen 2 years of budget cycle go through. I've seen 2 rounds. Well, this year we had our own little sessions that Carol ran and that I ran. Nobody showed. 2 people came to my meeting and they're on like the Republican Town Committee, so they knew about the meeting. And you came out to Orange and did your spiel. Nobody questioned one thing. So I feel like it should be put out there immediately. This is where it is. This is where you can find it. So now go through it. And maybe now, if you have a gripe about something, come to these meetings and talk about it. So I know that was a little off topic, but I just think that it should be and since we're in the communications meeting, people should know that they can find that link.
Yeah, so that's definitely in Paul's newsletter. I can also push it out through our school Facebook, which does have some people who do reposting
Oh,
as
that,
soon
yeah,
as
and that
our
Facebook page gets a lot of action. Everything, most things I needed to know on about going on in the last 4 years, I found on that Facebook. That's a great page.
so yeah, our website social media person's been on her honeymoon, so when she gets back, I will have her get onto that.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So Jen, the budget that, the new budget book that we were shown last night, that is currently live, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's under Board of Ed, under budget, under 25, 26.
Yep.
That's
Yeah. What Terry walks you through is that was our live website.
Okay. Right. So it is there. It's just under budget so you just find it where you'd find the budget under the Board of Ed.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Well, what do you guys think about one forum?
I mean, I think it would be, so I agree there's been way less public comment. And this was the response to, we get 25 people with public comment and you can't talk back to them.
Yep.
So let's have a forum so we can have that dialogue. So I think those two do go hand in hand. I think there's perhaps, I don't know that there's a level of expectation, but we've been pretty vocal, like, we're going to host a forum and we're not afraid to talk to you and we're going to create this space where we can have dialogue. So I think taking that away just and saying, we're done, probably doesn't play out well for our community. So Dana, I think sort of a dial down to one, see how it
Right.
goes. And again, maybe we'll see where we are. Maybe it's topic focused, like you said. Maybe it's, one thing that sort of drives people out. Maybe we take the brave step and just make it an open public forum where they can have a conversation with us. I guess we'll sort of kind of gauge where we are as we get closer to a date. Well, let's think about the timing, because I don't necessarily, I still am reluctant but I don't mind doing it, but of turning it into just a conversation around the budget, because we have so many hearings and meetings
Absolutely,
that are
it should
budget
not be.
specific.
I don't
Should not
So,
be a budget conversation. No
Yeah.
way.
Yes. So I'm thinking timing wise, we'll want to look at something. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to think about it, because if we do it in March or April, which is kind of when it's the nicest time to do it, because the weather's nice, you're not going to get a snow day. It's not the end of the year when everything's busy. Budget is all anybody's talking about. So let's just kind of ponder a good timing for it. And maybe we don't make it a Monday, because, although everything else is built around Mondays being board meetings. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's kind of the thought, and let's see what happens with that.
So Jen, I do like the idea that you had around parent engagement, but I like the idea of also even having conversations around transitioning, because when parents are transitioning from the elementary school into Amity, and then also, the expectations in 7th and 8th, I think a lot of parents have questions even around how the schedules are built, why we have teams. I'm talking about the middle school. Somehow I always feel that the middle school gets kind of left out. People just sort of take it for granted. But there's a lot people don't understand. Like, people didn't know that they could wave their child up. And I think that the administrators believe everyone knows, but they don't know.
So I think what we can do, again, we may take that brave step and just have it a very open forum. And what questions you have, bring them.
But the thing too is, I feel like you guys have your nights. You have the nights for new student transition nights. I forget what they're called. That's not what they're called. But I went to all of them. So when you're going from kindergarten to elementary school to middle school to high school, you have nights devoted just to that. And they're super attended. They're well attended.
Yeah, but not everybody's, but still, even those who attended, Dana, they didn't know that they could wave their child.
What is wave your child? I don't even know what that is.
Like, well, actually.
So we're really off topic of.
Right, but no,
fall community forum.
Right. No, I completely understand that. But here's a great example. So if you think that your child should be in a higher level class, this is when we have the leveled classes. But for an example, math. So right now we still have several leveled classes, and you can waive your child when you are in, I believe it's in Power School. So how to do that? And I've known parents who have done that, and then completely it just switches their child's schedule automatically. They don't even have to call anybody. They could just do it that way. Parents, it was not this summer, but the summer before, who didn't know. And that was important because specifically at Beecher, in the elementary school, one of the teams didn't have two teachers from end of September to maybe on or around January, like 14th or something. And that's why it was important to them. And those parents didn't know that they could do that. So that's why I'm saying, so maybe it's not always a new topic, Jen, but maybe it is, even transitioning, and how much engagement should how much support, and how much can parents actually reach out to the school and contact them? They may not know how much they should be involved, other than parent night.
Yeah. Again, we have to be careful too, though, because remember, you're representing the board communications committee. We want to make sure we stick to sort of board topics and not operational ones. Because to Dana's point, the operational meetings are what the principals would run, but it's also getting near 6. So I hear right now we don't have a rush for a fall community forum, so we can sit on topics and revisit this next month, because we don't have to have something ready for November. But before we have to adjourn, PTO outreach updates. So just so that you know where I am with this, I have the contact information for the middle schools. I drafted a potential letter for Carol to send. Did you get that?
No, but I may have missed it, so I'll look.
Just double check. If not, I'll share it again. And I'll easily get the high school contact. It's Mr. Hauser wasn't there the day I asked everybody, so he sort of missed that message. I did meet with the BOE superintendents last week and asked for their help in getting that information. I haven't heard from them, so I'll follow up. But nobody was sort of opposed to the idea and understood that it was kind of in response to questions that they had already asked for. And as soon as I have those, what I'll probably do is I'll build kind of a distribution list, and then regularly, Carol, either you or I can send Paul's newsletter as just an Amity update to please share with your PTSO members as you feel fit. And then we can build that other letter that I drafted of an opportunity to go visit and speak with them. And maybe that becomes the replacement for the community forum. Maybe just having that opportunity for parents to have one-to-one interactions, maybe that changes the communication process. But that's where we are right now.
Aren't those PTO meetings typically in the mornings, though?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the school.
I think the Bethany Middle School is.
Yeah, Bethany tried to actually support parents. So like as soon as they do drop off, to kind of be able to be available and go right from drop off into the meeting, have the meeting, and then carry on with their day before they go to work. So yeah, so they're actually very convenient, and most board members, honestly, if you have kids, you can go to those meetings. You don't need to be on communications committee to do it. So but we'll I'll get all that information together, and I'll try to get that. I'll prod and try to get it by the end of the week, Carol, so that you have that.
Okay. No, I think that sounds good, and I think if we can attend one like the new, and attend one a year and just sort of report back, we can divide like who goes where. I think that would be like a great step for this committee. So we're at 6:06. Anything else on PTSO connections?
No, Jen, when is our next meeting?
So it'll be the Tuesday after the next regular board meetings. So that is going to be October 7th.
7th. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I don't
All
have
right.
I don't have any middle school commitments that night.
All
Not
right.
yet.
Okay. Okay. Not yet.
If there's nothing else, I'd like to call us to adjourn. Do we need to vote, or can
Nope,
I
you
just
can adjourn with no
adjourn?
objection.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Adjourning with no objection.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
for accommodating me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.